हे देयर, दिस इज रवि। और ये वीडियो सेशन में हम देखेंगे कि हाउ टू इंक्रीज योर कोड कवरेज। सो ओवर हियर यू कैन सी प्रीवियसली हमारा कोड कवरेज था लाइक सम 33.75। मैंने कुछ टेस्ट केसेस डिलीट कर दिया सो दैट इट गोज डाउन अ लिटिल बिट, और फिर हम देख सकते हैं कि हम उसे writing test cases how we can bring it up. So right now in this session I'll write test case for दिस पर्टिकुलर क्लास। आई ट्राई टू मॉक इट। आप देख सकते हो कि ये रेड एरिया बता रहा है कि हे आपने इनिशियलाइजेशन के लिए कोड नहीं लिखा है। सो व्हाट आई डू इज लाइक आई हैव अ क्लास ओवर हियर व्हिच आई हैव क्रिएटेड व्हिच इज कॉल्ड एज रिजल्ट टेस्ट क्लास। एक चीज़ मैं हमेशा फॉलो करता हूँ कि मैं अपने टेस्ट में जितने भी फाइल्स क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ मैं उसके लिए एक अलग टेस्ट फाइल क्रिएट करता हूँ, सो दैट इट डजेंट मेस अप, इट डजेंट आई मीन लाइक एक ही फाइल में मैं सब कुछ ऐड सब सारे टेस्ट केसेस ऐड करना सही नहीं समझता। सो आई मेक श्योर दैट आई separate my test cases out so that I can get more ground area covered and write more test cases for a particular file, because you might end up in way lot different scenarios। आपको लगता होगा कि ओके लेट मी सी दिस फाइल एंड लेट मी सी दिस क्लास, ओके इसके लिए मैं सिर्फ इनिशियलाइजेशन नहीं लिख सकता हूँ, बट ऐसा नहीं है। आप बहुत कुछ कर सकते हो। आप नल के साथ इनिशियलाइज करके देखो, फिर एक्सपेक्टेड वैल्यू क्या आता है, एंड द लिस्ट गोज ऑन। आई मीन लाइक विद टेस्ट केसेस you can go from from the ground level to you can do a lot of crazy things। आप कुंफू कराटे जो चाहिए वो कर सकते हो टेस्ट केस के साथ। सो बट दैट ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स कि आपको करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए। डज इट ऐड वैल्यू? बिकॉज एक एंटायर एप्लीकेशन में आप जितना भी कोड ऐड करते हो आपको उसको साल 2 साल के बाद मैनेज करना पड़ेगा। सो इफ़ आई एम राइटिंग अभी ये क्लास के लिए अगर मैं 20 टेस्ट केसेस लिखूँ, डज इट मेक सेंस? Maybe, maybe not. Is it mandatory? No. Is it required? Yes. Required in the sense only and only the test cases which are which makes more sense, right? So I would say like we can start with this. Initialize result with test data returns expected data. So मैं मेरा नेमिंग कन्वेंशन जो फॉलो करता हूँ, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, मैं इनिशलाइज कर रहा हूँ रिजल्ट को किसके साथ? टेस्ट डेटा के साथ। रिटर्न्स मैं क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूँ? सम एक्सपेक्टेड डेटा। आप ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आप इस चीज़ को फॉलो करें, वॉट एवर वर्क्स फॉर योर टीम फॉर योर कंपनी, आप वैसे फॉलो कर सकते हो। मैं ये पैटर्न फॉलो करता हूँ क्योंकि ये मुझे ईजी लगता है। बिकॉज whenever I look at or any particular developer looks at this test case, he might figure out, not fully but at least like 50-60%, that okay there is something which is called as result which is getting initialized with test data, and it returns a return में ये expected data कुछ expect करता है, right? So over here you can see that whenever you have your naming convention like this, प्रीवियसली मेरे प्रीवियस सेशंस में देखा होगा आपने कि यहाँ पे एक डायमंड आइकन है जिस पे आप प्ले कर सकते हो, पॉज कर सकते हो, राइट? बट whenever you create a new file you're not going to get something like this, and that is because of an import. So I'll just copy this guy and I will paste this guy over here. Okay, so and I will try to build this. So build succeeded लेकिन फिर भी यहाँ पे नहीं आया. So let me do one thing. Um, let me write test, and you can see as soon as I write test वो icon appear हो जाता है, right? So this is basically a standard formatting of Xcode where it wants you to manually specify that hey this particular method is a test method. So underscore, right? Okay, so let's begin with writing a test case for that. So what I'll do is I begin with there are three rules which I start with is like arrange, act, and assert. अरेंज यानी कि आप जो मॉड्यूल टेस्ट करना चाहते हो उसके लिए आपको कुछ मॉक डेटा या कुछ इनिशियलाइजेशन वगैरह करना पड़ रहा है, तो यू कैन डू दैट ओवर हियर. सो आई वांट व्हाट आई वांट टू डू इज आई वांट से लेट I'll say mock result equals to um, let's say result, and I'll say mock result dot code equals to that can be in, and then mock result dot name becomes India. Okay, so this is my mock, and in the act what I want to do is I want to say like result array equals to array of mock result, something like that. So यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कि यहाँ पे मैंने result को initialize किया. I have given some default values. There are various ways of mocking this, but I think this is the most simplest and easiest way to do it. और assert में मैं क्या expect करूँगा कि hey this is true if result array is not equal to nil. Oops. अगर आप ये code if you don't like writing this code like this, so there is also, let me do this, there is also a way xct assert which is not nil, and it says result array. Okay, and xct assert assert is true if result array dot first dot say name equals equals mock result dot name. Okay, and so on. Alpha code 3 and alpha code 2. Same thing over here, alpha code 3 and alpha code 2. Okay, so what have we done in this particular test case is हमने कुछ values arrange किया है यहाँ पे by giving some mock values. I would say rather than adding values like this, what beneficial would be is try to generate a random string like a GUID or something, right? I always make sure that whenever I'm doing things like this, मैं कोई value hard code नहीं करता हूँ, क्योंकि अगर आप कुछ value hard code करते हो तो वो static होता है. Try to make your test cases as dynamic as you can while you're mocking it. So mostly when I'm writing test cases, this is just for sample purpose, but मैं जब भी test case लिखता हूँ तो मैं I try to make sure that I have a method जो एक random string throw करता है, वो string मैं यहाँ पे डालता हूँ, and then I can make sure that okay, whenever I'm asserting मैं वो random, I mean like random string or something like जो dynamically on the fly generate होता है, you are not sure कि वो क्या generate करेगा, right? So I make sure that okay, I'm always using a random generator string or number sort of thing, right? So try to get into the habit of having random generators for your mocks. In the act, what we're doing is like we are initializing a variable with an array of mock results, and then we are checking that hey, this guy is not nil and all of this are equal, right? So and when I run this test case, let's see what happens. यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो green हो चुका है. Now let's see if what is the coverage area. So previously you can see that result dot shift मतलब starting में 0 था, अभी वो 100% covered है. So that's a good thing, right? And if you double click this, you can see that this guy is like there is one test case which is covering the initialization part. Bingo. Now moving on. Previously हमारे पास ये array extension था जिसके लिए हमने कोई test case नहीं लिखा था. So let's try to mock this guy. So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to add a new file, unit test case, and I will say that this is my array extension test. Oops. array extension test, and सेम चीज़ रिपीट होगी यहाँ पे भी. So I'll just go ahead and copy paste it, and I will make sure that I'm writing a function test. Test array extensions with null. You can say empty. Returns empty array, right? Make sure that there are no white spaces. So let's have a look at the second test case that we're going to write is मैंने यहाँ पे एक extension लिखा हुआ है. Now in this extension, what it does is like it gets value of NS array type, and what it does is it converts it into a result type, right? So this is the logic that I've wrote somewhere over here, जहाँ पे मुझे डेटा मिलता है मेरे JSON parse में, and I don't want to write code over here. So what I did is like, hey, मेरे इस array को आप to result type throw karo, and I have an array extension over here which kind of like does that work for me, because over here I can make sure that the creation of this result type is separate, क्योंकि मुझे यहाँ पे null checks add करने हैं, and I can do I can separate out that code so that if in the maintenance अगर कुछ problem होता है इस particular conversion में, then the developer can just look at this particular code and not this entire thing. So the maintenance work is pretty easy. Okay, getting back to our test cases again. Again, the same thing. Assert, act, and oops, not assert. This is arrange, act, and assert, right? So arrange. What I want to do is let mock result array equals to, since it's an extension of NS array, you can have a default NS array and then say, hey, to result type. So my arrangement is done, I guess. So maybe I don't want to, मुझे यहाँ पे कुछ act में, I mean like I don't want to initialize anything, because since this is, or what you could do is like you can just because we want to make sure that we are following the act part, I can just go and say, hey, mock this guy and to result type act over here, and then assert. What I want to do is I want to make sure that if I'm passing empty, अगर मैं कुछ pass नहीं कर रहा हूँ इसको, तो मुझे empty ही expectation है. We don't want this guy to be initialized with some dumb or garbage values. So what I'll say is xct assert is not nil, and xct assert is true if mock result.count is greater than 0. I'm using Visual Studio shortcuts. That all right. यहाँ पे वार्निंग आ रही है मोस्टली. मैनी पीपल, इट्स गुड दैट दिस वार्निंग पॉप्ड अप. मैक्सिमम लोगों का थॉट प्रोसेस ये होता है कि ओके, मेरा ये कोड तो कभी प्रोडक्शन में जाएगा नहीं, तो व्हाई शुड आई वरी अबाउट अ वार्निंग. बट इफ द आईडी इज एक्सप्लिसिटली सेइंग दैट हे, there is a problem with this code that you have wrote, तो mostly maybe it's a good idea to do something like this. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'm making sure that this guy is not nil, and but the count is equal to 0. Oops, not this is, this has to be equals to 0. Sorry, my bad. Yep, because since we are not passing anything, we are making sure that the count is equals to 0. Okay, let me run this. Now you can see this guy passed. Let's see if our code coverage has increased. This is 41%. अभी मैं क्या करूँगा? I will make sure that let me run everything and see what happens. There is one test case which is failing. Let's see, and that is performance. I'll come to this test case later, that why it's failing and everything. But for now, what I'll do is I will comment this guy out and I will rerun my test cases. And everything passes. So अभी आप देख सकते हो it goes to like 76.25%, because let's see what is covered. Data request is covered, then result is covered, array extensions are covered, and then your data manager is covered. इसके लिए हम already code लिख चुके हैं, and then this guy is covered, right? Okay. So as you can see, मेरा test coverage पहले it was like some 33-ish%. Right now it has increased to 76%. आप चाहो तो एक और क्लास ऐड कर सकते हो यहाँ पे, सॉरी एक और मेथड ऐड कर सकते हो which kind of like make sure that uh, if there is a threshold, like आप चाहते हो कि ये जो भी हो रहा है it kind of like returns the data in some particular time frame. So there is some expectations that you have to set. So what you can do is inside your code, inside your any one of the test cases, or let's say, let me see. Let me copy one of the test cases. Not this. Okay, let me copy. I'll just randomly उसे फिर बाद में अपडेट कर सकते हैं. Okay, copy this guy. Too much white space. Okay, what I can do over here is test get country code with uh, with with a URL request and request expectations returns expected value, expected data, expected जो भी आप लिखना चाहो वो. So let's create an expectation, right? So this is, let's say, um, call the service. Oh, so I'll say geez, service returns response. Oops, response uh, in 5. Okay, okay, and I'm just gonna get rid of this. Here's the information value. And then there is then there's, we'll see what it's complaining about. यहाँ पे मैं क्या बोलूँगा, मुझे XCT assert oops X there is an assert on exception that expectations that we do. Let's see. Usually what I'll do is like I'll pause the video, but let's try to debug this and see where we're at. Wait for expectation. Yes, मुझे method का नाम नहीं याद आ रहा था, sorry. So I'll say time interval is 5 and this is nil. Uh, I'll say, hey, this expectation needs to be, oops, let's see what this is. Expectation, bingo. And I'll say download the data in 5. And then what I'll do is like expectation dot fulfill. Okay, it's still complaining. Is it because of this? Oh, yep. Oh yeah, because I was. So I'll say expected expectations. Yep. I should be doing more Swift. Okay, so basically what we're trying to do over here is like मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि hey मेरा जो country code वाला service है, because most of the time there might be a scenario जहाँ पे आप चाहते हो कि okay ये particular service मुझे 5 सेकंड में data return करना चाहिए, या फिर some other service should return me data in within 1 or 2 seconds. So what you are doing is like you're making sure that you're setting up an expectations, right? मुझे एक एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट करना है कि मेरा डेटा डाउनलोड होना चाहिए विद इन 5 सेकेंड्स. सो यहाँ पे आपने क्या किया है कि यहाँ पे आपने बोला है कि ओके सिंस दिस इज़ अ ब्लॉक विच इज़ एसिंक्रोनस. आप एसिंक्रोनस टेस्ट नहीं कर सकते. यू कैन नॉट डू इट डायरेक्टली. देर आर लाइक वेरियस हैक्स to test an expectation, to test a particular block which runs in a different thread, because your UI usually runs in the main thread and आप जो भी background task perform करते हो it runs in a different thread. So expectations, what they do is like you set some expectations. For example, this is one expectation. There can be multiple expectations, and then you wait for the expectation to be fulfilled. मुझे मेरा डेटा 5 सेकंड के अंदर चाहिए in this particular scenario. This is what I'm saying, right? So when I do that, uh, when I run this, so basically this test case would pass if my data comes within the timeout interval of 5. But let's say if I wanna write some negative expectations that hey मुझे 0.25 में चाहिए. Oh, just a second. Which is called as a inverted expectations. No, probably this guy would fail. Download the data in 5, right? So I'm still new to expectations and I'm still learning like how life can be made easier with expectations and everything. So in maybe in the future आने वाले blogs में I'll explain more about expectations and I'll explain more about mocking, how mocking can be done and everything. So let's see, जहाँ पे हम 33% पे थे अभी हम कहाँ पे हैं, right? So this guy failed, right? So let's do this. Oops. 4 issues. Okay, that's okay. Let me see if I've covered everything. And then yeah, then what you could do is like up XCT asserts लिख सकते हो that hey the data received is not null or something like that. Just running this to make sure it passes. And it did. Alright. So अभी मैं finally सारे test cases run करूँगा. And everything passed. and when I look at my coverage, it is 76.25. I would say still it is not 80%, but it is, I would say it is uh, good as compared to 31 or 33% than what we have. Previously मेरा कोई भी code covered नहीं था. अभी I can see this is a good coverage that I have. Like you can see ये class में I mean like it's 100% of the code is covered. I mean like हर एक particular case के लिए, हर एक particular line of code के लिए, एक block के लिए मेरे पास एक test case है which kind of like goes ahead and tests it. uh, Plus I can see that hey, okay, this particular red line indicates that okay, कौन सा portion covered नहीं, and you can see that this return is not covered. So maybe I'll write another test case which mocks the data coming out of the response, and it's returning null or something. Or maybe I can write one more test case which makes sure that one exception is occurring, or it's getting this particular line is getting printed, right? So whenever you're writing a test case, make sure कि आपने जो भी कोड लिखा है, आप उसके लिए एक हैप्पी पाथ सिनारियो लिख रहे हो और आप एक नेगेटिव पाथ सिनारियो लिख रहे हो, so that you're making sure that your code can handle happy path scenarios as well as negative path scenarios. Happy path scenarios are pretty straightforward. जैसा आप मेरे कोड में देख सकते हो, basically I've not shown you what is a negative path scenario. Negative path scenario can be you know like I'm passing null, or I am doing something really stupid which I should not be doing, या फिर मेरे सर्वर से मुझे गार्बेज डेटा रिटर्न आ रहा है, या फिर whenever I'm trying to call a service some exception is occurring, and my code doesn't know how to respond with that. So these are the type of negative path scenarios that I'm talking about, which we'll see in the coming video sessions. So that's about it. I hope you liked this. uh, Please let me know what should I add more on test cases, या फिर what are the areas in which I could improve, or what are the new topics that you're looking for in Swift. Let me know. Thank you.